And now, folks, for something completely different. I want to just look at my basement room down here that I usually do my recordings in, and I want to show you that there is truth all around us if we will see it. And I get this from the idea that God uses object lessons to teach. He always has. Can you hear that? You probably can't hear that. I can hear my wife upstairs playing the piano. She's practicing for Sunday. There's truth right there. There's worship going on in heaven right now beyond what we can see or even hear with our ears physically, but it's there. Heaven is there. Also, practicing to do worship is not a bad thing. We want to do our worship for the Lord, not for the people around us. And this is why I think it's important for preachers when they preach, for singers when they sing, to dress appropriately as if they're doing it before the Lord. You would not stand before a president or a king in a backwards hat on your head and torn blue jeans and a t shirt. In the Old Testament, the priests were uh, ordered to wear certain clothing to conduct themselves in a certain way when they're in the tabernacle. When we do our worship, I believe, I have a conviction we'll do that as well. But there's just truth all around us, and there's more that I'm going to be able to get in this video. So this is my exercise room. You can see the exercise equipment. Uh, Judy does a lot of walking, and we have uh, an item here that you bounce on it is all you do. You can research that. That's exercise as well. And then there's resistance training. I do this for 30 minutes every morning. Um, there's no way for you to be healthy without doing some exercise. The Apostle Paul talked about exercise as well. But writer of Hebrews also talked about this weight that goes on me on the exercise machine. That weight that does so easily beset us and keeps us from running the race. It may not even be a sin. Sin can do that, but it's a weight that the writer of Hebrews spoke of that keeps us from running as we ought to. So let's see, what else is there? There's a television. You don't think television can tell you any truth? You need to be keeping up with the things that are going on in the world. Actually, Jesus said so. He said, you need to watch. Repeatedly, Jesus said, you need to watch. And then there's a clock on the wall. Do you know what time it is? If you watch that TV, if you pay attention to what's going on around you in the world, and you know the prophetic scripture, then you know what time it is. We are at the end of this age, the church age. Oh, but way more truth than that. We're just getting started. So over here, I have a chair. Sometimes you need to take some time off and rest. That's why God gave us uh, the principle of the Sabbath. Whether you take a Saturday or Friday or what day, Paul said, I can't condemn you for that. But I do know that the Sabbath was given to man for a purpose, and there's all kinds of scientific evidence that Sabbath rest is important. If you're not taking a day where you don't do work, where you don't make money, where you need to take some time to rest for a lot of different reasons. And over here is cleanup. Any truth there? Well, you may be clean all over. Jesus spoke of that with the Pharisees. They were paying attention to the cup looking good on the outside, but what's on the inside is what matters. If you're clean all over, but your nose is not clean, you might want to pay attention to that. Wow. And do you see the trash can right there? It's one of those things that it's made its way into our computers. It is in our lives every day, and we need a trash can to get rid of those things that we don't want around anymore. Well, do you need sin? There may even be some things that are not sin, but you don't need them in your life, like that weight that I spoke of. You need to throw it in the trash and get rid of it. Wow. How much more truth is there? So there's a fire extinguisher. There's many different ways that we could approach that. The fire extinguisher, though, reminds me that you need to do something about that truth out there in your future called hell. Even though more and more preachers are preaching that hell's not a real thing, the Bible still says the same thing it has all along. Jesus said, don't worry about the one who can kill your body. He said, worry about the one who will put your soul in hell for eternity. Check it out. Those aren't my words, those are Jesus's words. Wow, so much more truth. There's a step stool. I just recently added to my exercise program, stepping up and then very slowly coming back down. They tell me, people in rehab told me that that's a very important muscle that people over 60 begin to lose, and that one step exercise begins to restore that muscle. Very important. Wow. We could literally go on and on. We could talk about what we're doing right now. This tech is enabling us to talk to one another. For me to put this truth out there, tech has enabled us to, with social media, to be able to be more connected than ever with other people in the world, literally all over the world. Tech can be a good thing. It can also be a bad thing. That's in the news a lot, and you can pay attention to that. Tech can be a huge impediment to who you need to be as a person. I know some people, I have watched them in the ministry in the last few years. They were not able to sit in church and not check their Facebook page or not send a text to somebody. Now, I use my phone as my Bible. And once in a while the preaching is going on, I will check out the Greek word that's used right there because it's right there. But if you're not disciplined, you will be distracted. Very bad thing. If you're not disciplined in your life, you're probably not disciplined in your spiritual life as well. So you need to pay attention to that. If you can't get up every morning or whenever you do it and exercise, you're probably not exercising spiritually as well. If you don't have discipline, I remember Adrian Rogers years ago made a statement in his preaching. He said, every once in a while I fast just to show my body who's in charge. Well, who's in charge of you? We could go on and on. We could talk about the light bulbs that's giving us light in this room. The light of the world, of course, is Jesus. If you want light for your path, as Psalm 23 said, He will lead us in the path of righteousness for His name's sake. Light enables us to be able to do that. Spiritual light, Jesus. On and on and on. Truth is all around us. Are you paying attention to it? So, this is something completely different. I hope it's been something that's caused you to think a little bit more about truth. Have a blessed day, and it will be blessed if you do it with Jesus. If you're on your own, you're on your own.